Cool. So yeah, Trophy Dark, Incursion is mother. Sweet. So let's jump right into character creation. So if you go to the Treasure Hunters tab on our amazing character keeper here, you've got a little character sheet for each of them. This one is really nicely set up. You can just follow the prompts to create a character. So basically, you're going to be choosing a name and pronouns for your character. Everyone starts with off with a ruin at one, and I'll talk about what that means in just a moment. You'll be picking your occupation and background, and that will give you 3 skills, I believe. And then you'll pick a drive, which is the reason that you are going treasure hunting. A lot of these drives have um, undefined things in them. So if we look at, become part of the swirling court, we don't know what the swirling court is. We may never find out, or it may be incorporated into the incursion somehow. Uh, we'll play to find out. And once you've done those, you can pick up to 3 rituals, I believe. Maybe it's 2. I think it's 3. Rituals are basically magic you can do. Magic is not easy or safe at all. It is very dangerous, but it does give you narrative control over things like being able to shape stone or fly or harass someone magically. Each ritual you take is going to bump up your starting ruin by 1. You can never go below your starting ruin. When you get to 6 ruin, your character is exits from the story one way or another. So and we'll talk about how a ruin goes up in a moment. So for now, just go ahead and follow through those prompts. Grab your name, occupation, background, and drive. And
I will note that there's a nifty feature where if you scroll down, there's a way to randomly generate this, and
nice.
then you can toggle the checkbox to keep re-rolling it. But my very first random generation gave me name Orlin, occupation zealot, and background enlightened miner, which feels
Perfect.
kind of perfect to throw in here. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's amazing. All right.
That's really nice.
Let's give this a go. Oh, do we need a zealot and a medium? Another roll. Yeah, that'll work.
Ooh.
Nevin, antiquarian, word innocent, break the siege on your sibling's fortress.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Cool. Yeah. So just drop those in the drop downs up top there. And fill in your name, and it should be good. I think it gives you 3 rituals down there at the bottom. Do not feel obligated to take 3.
I want.
I usually play it safe and take 1, but I've seen great success with people just loading up on it and riding the edge.
Yeah, because every ritual you take increases your starting ruin.
Yeah.
And you can't go below the starting ruin ever?
That is correct. You cannot go below your starting ruin. So if you start off with 3 rituals, you have basically 2 shots until you start. Well, 1 shot until you start having to try to reduce it by turning on the other character.
Mm.
And Vol is a fantastic choice.
Oh, that's bonkers.
Seems like a pretty good one.
Ooh, yeah. Awesome. And did you choose a drive there? Yeah.
Just poke around and see if any of the others of these are cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all great. it's always hard to pick.
Yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, and the context for each incursion, each of them is summoning the Leviathan in the pit is going to be different than in underwater.
Yeah.
Or in the sky.
No, that makes sense.
Wait, did you take a ritual to summon a Leviathan?
I
I
just
was
saw it
poking
on the list
around.
there.
He saw. I was reading the descriptions.
Uh,
Um, I wanted to know if it was summon a Leviathan or become very large or what. Yeah, I was curious. Is that the same list? Okay, I think I'm gonna take the one off of my list and call it a day.
Cool. And just go ahead and choose a
I need to-
drive. Yeah.
I need to punch
Or
my
drop that one in there. Yeah.
siege on my Simmons fortress.
Cool. I think that is it for starting stuff up. If you'd like to add a picture, you can, but we don't need to. And it autofilled your skills in from your occupation and background. So let's just go ahead and introduce the characters. We'll start with Orlin.
yeah, so that's me. Orlin is a zealot and an enlightened miner, and his drive is to find the resting ground of the morning night. So I think he was, mining away in uh some godforsaken, some sisters forsaken pit of the this world, right? When he discovered something wonderful, a gem that he believes to be the herald of the morning night, and the gem speaks to him and tells him that he is destined to uh, fulfill this quest, find the resting ground of the morning night, and it tells him who would stand in his way and what he has to do to uh, uh, remove that threat. And so he is now, following this gem, and it has led him to seek out the gold that he needs to fulfill this holy drive.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And your skills and the rituals.
Interrogation, rituals, strength, and paths. And I have the ritual Unfall.
Excellent. Yeah, the rituals skill is always interesting. Like,
bit of a temptation.
yeah, get those extra dark dice. Great. I love that. We'll have more questions for Orlin as we go forward. And let's hear about Nevin.
Yeah, so I'm Nevin, antiquarian and Lord Innocent. I think he's someone who, the world is dark and tough, but I think he, you know, with a little bit of a noble background and a little bit of a family that was looking out for him, made it well into adulthood without really spending a lot of time sort of having to engage with the various darknesses of the world. And so he has managed to take on an actual honest, academic interest in the strange things about, without being unduly concerned with what that might get him. Until very recently, when it turns out his brother needs something, and that something is a whole lot of gold. And so out of nowhere, he's got to figure out how to turn knowing weird stuff about the world into being able to, save a family member, and going after this treasure feels like it might well be it. So
Awesome.
skills are artifacts, myths, obfuscation, and temptation.
And you've got a
Temptation.
silence ritual. Awesome. Cool. So we're both starting off with 2 ruin. That's respectable. Great. And I think that is good for characters. So I'm just going to jump into ring 1, and we're going to start in media res. Basically, I'll read off the little intro. Ring 1. If you ask any experienced treasure hunter to name the most terrifying thing in the forest, there's always one location that comes up more often than not. It goes by many names: the Fall, the Well, the Quarry. Despite its many names, it's always described the same way. And this is a quote from a treasure hunter who made it back. The ground ahead of me had a slight decline, the descent eventually opening up to a massive hole as wide across as 10 score men lying foot to head. I got closer to see what might be down there. Every step forward filled me with vertigo that I might fall in at any minute. I couldn't see the bottom, but I heard it. 1,000 hammers tapping against 1,000 chisels. Plink, plink, plink. And here, the stories diverge. Some say there are miners down there looking for gold, silver, or precious gems. Others say it's sculptors crafting idols and rare artifacts for their chthonic gods. Whatever's down there hasn't seen the light of day for hundreds or thousands of years. Anything brought back would surely be a unique trophy capable of fetching a sizable sum. Oddly, the precise location of this vast opening never seems to be identified in the same place. Some say it's only a few miles off the south bank of the Nava River, while others place it well to the north, nestled in the depths of the forest. These conflicting reports can almost certainly be attributed to the disorientation nearly all treasure hunters suffer after time spent in the forest. And you have arrived at the quarry. You can't see to the bottom. When you drop a rock down, you never hear an impact or an echo. And we're going to start you strapped into your harnesses, rope in hand, rappelling down the face of this 60 10 score. What's 10 score? 120 times. It's big. It's like 700 feet across. Yeah. So you're rappelling down this wall on a single line.
What time of day is it?
It is probably you probably decided to go early morning to get whatever light you could, but when you get down, it's it gets dark quickly. Who has gone down first on the line?
Almost certainly the miner.
That seems that right to me.
I don't think I would refuse if he told me to go first, but I definitely would not volunteer, especially given our skill sets.
I think Orlin says, "Follow my lead, antiquarian," and definitely takes the lead position on descending.
Excellent. Nevin, how did you overcome the vertigo that hit you when you first looked over the edge?
I spent a lot of time staring at the wall. The vertigo is mostly about down, and it's not the fact of down, it's the image of down that really gets me. And so if I spend most of my time dealing with the rock that's inches away from me, I'm all right. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Excellent. And the rock is there's horizontal veins that go around the wall, sedimentary layers. It's just the layers and layers of history that have built up underneath the land. And most of the veins are brown or some shade of gray, but there's a large layer or vein that is this blood red clay that sort of stands out in contrast from the grays and browns. A question for both of you, I guess. What legend do your people share about these veins of blood red clay underground?
Well, you see these sort of things in other mines too occasionally. Not as dramatic as here, but the miners like to call them the entrails of the giants. There were once great, massive beings that roamed the earth. Thankfully, they're all gone now, but they left us some guts of theirs to remember them by when we dig down into the ground. Maybe we'll find more of them if we go deeper.
What about Nevin?
Some more adventurous souls have noted that whatever their origins, the giant's entrails present as clay. I have seen drinkware made from it that has some allusion to the same myth and some hint of growth property. Like if one were to drink the right thing out of a vessel made from this stuff, they might pick something up from the giants.
Awesome. Love it. Orlin, as you're descending, what makes you uncertain about how securely you fasten the rope up top?
Knots are second nature to me by now, but there's a trembling in the line that I can't account for. But I don't let on that there's anything amiss.
What did you tie off to? Was it a tree up there or a boulder, a spike?
Yeah, there was a kind of old growth calder tree that seemed sturdy, nearly more iron than wood, so seemed the best place to tie off.
Yeah, and in fact, you probably saw that there were the leavings of other delvers. Other folks had tied ropes, long lashes of leather strap chain around it, and
Joining an august brotherhood here.
yeah, and none of them
have
have returned. Yeah, none of them have returned from that trip. And in fact, as you descend, you see the various lengths at which their ropes ended, or maybe broke, or were cut.
Do they look frayed? Like, what's the
They've been there-
appearance of the rope ends?
Yeah, there's it's been a while. People have been trying to get down here for some time, so some of them are definitely frayed. It's hard to tell whether it's from just wear out in the weather, age. Some of the chains are rusted, falling apart. There are a few that have been cleanly cut, for sure. And as you're kind of examining, thinking about those other frayed ropes, you feel your own line kind of twisting and catching on something. And Orlin, you know this feeling, you felt it before, that there's a slight, like there's a snag, and then a slight tug, a drop of a fraction of an inch, and you know that you need to brace yourself because the rope is about to snap. Nevin.
Yeah. Orlin says, Nevin, get ready. Things are about to get a little dicier here.
Great. Very good. Yes.
Hope you've got a strong grip.
Nevin, when the rope snaps, does Orlin try to catch you?
Not first. I mean, he warned me, so I'm gonna, like, the first thing is, like, when he starts talking, I scramble and try to grab a hold of anything I can, right? I don't, even if I slip, I'd rather be sliding than falling when something goes wrong. So I sort of imagine myself getting like fistfuls of whatever's there and sort of like scrabbling and slipping my way down past him. I think that's sort of how I picture this going.
Right. So you're trying to make some sort of purchase to slow or stop your fall. So it sounds like a risky situation. So we
Bye-bye.
will go ahead and jump into a risk roll. And so the way this is going to happen is that when someone attempts something dangerous or risky, I'm going to ask you what you hope is going to happen. So not fall by grabbing onto the rocks. And then I'll say something, and I'll ask the other player, in this case Alexi, Orlin, what might go wrong. So actually, I'll ask Orlin first. So what could go wrong if he does not make purchase in the rock?
I mean, there's any number of things that could be down below, and if he's falling fast enough, he could get splattered, obvious thing, or he could get impaled on a sharp geode, or a gnarled ironwood root emerging from the from the earthen wall here. So lots of things you don't want to impact that velocity.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the other thing that could go wrong is that you're still attached, and he would pull Orlin down with him for sure.
There's that.
Orlin's definitely going to have to deal with the rope snappage himself, but this would be even worse than that. So the way a risk roll works is we're going to roll some dice. Are you in the trophy dice? Yeah.
I am.
Lagoda, great. So we're going to do a risk roll. You're going to start off with one. So there's light dice and dark dice.
Yeah.
We're going to roll one light die if your background or occupation have given you any skills that you think can assist you with this roll. So it'd be artifacts, myths, obfuscation, and temptation.
I think we're just gonna go with no.
Yeah, okay. So there's no
I
dice
like
for that.
stretching, but I've got nothing.
We can also get another light die for accepting a devil's bargain from either me or the other player. So a devil's bargain is a complication or something troubling that is going to happen whether you succeed or fail. So the example that's often used is if the risk is you're jumping across a chasm. The risk is you could fall, you would like to make it. A devil's bargain might be you drop something as you're jumping across. That's going to happen whether you drop it as you're going across or it falls with you when you fall. A bad devil's bargain would be like, oh, you don't make it for some reason, like you catch your foot on a root before taking off. That's going to prevent you from succeeding. So this is going to happen whether you succeed or fail.
Yeah.
And we can also use this to invent things if we want to. One I was in a game, I think there was the witch. There's a witch in the world, and one of the devil's bargains was like the witches waiting for you when you get to this place. Oh, okay, that wasn't any incursion, but that's amazing. So Orlin, what do you have any devil's bargains for falling?
Yeah. Devil's bargain is no matter what, you yell loud enough that it wakes something up.
Ooh, I love that. Let's see, I think another devil's bargain might be that whether you make purchase or not, the rope and climbing gear that you have is ruined and you will not be able to use it to come back up.
Hilarious. I'll definitely take that one.
Awesome.
I think you can't stack them, right? So it's just the one.
Yeah, just the one.
Well, if I just give one, I want that one.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever happens, your climbing gear is wrecked, but you do get a light die. That's great. We're also going to add a dark die if you are risking your mind or body to succeed. It feels like you're risking your body here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only argument against that is that if I didn't do it, my body would be just as at risk.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be rolling one light die and one dark die. And if you click on the risk roll up top in the upper left there, that should bring up a little dialogue that lets you roll that. Great. Cool. So your highest die is a 5.
It's dark.
That is good. It is dark. That is less good. So a 5, a 4 or 5, I think in this game, yeah, 4 or 5 means you succeed, but there's a complication or cost. On the 6, you would succeed, no problem. 1 to 3, real bad. So you do succeed. There's going to be a complication here. And since your highest die is a dark die, we're going to look at your ruin to see if your dark die is higher than your ruin. Your ruin was a 2. That is higher, so you're going to add a ruin, which it looks like you've already done.
Yep.
Amazing. Great. Yeah, so what does it look like as you scrabble for a hold?
I mean, there's a lot of I'm just sort of shoving hands and feet into everything I can. Like my knees are getting road rash, like my feet are scraping along, like I've totally lost track of the rope. I've like broken one of my picks. But finally there's like some sort of an indent that's big enough that I can land an arm on it, and I just plant.
And I think the complication is we're going to give you a condition. And the condition is that you are, this is a lot of exertion. Like it wasn't a clean catch. This was a lot of scrabbling and reaching.
Oh, yeah.
So your condition is you're out of breath and covered in sweat. You've exerted yourself intensely. And conditions are just narrative things. So if they come up and will affect something in the fiction, we will incorporate it. And they generally get worse as we go in further. Great. Arlen, while this is happening with your greater skill, you see that falling is happening, and you also need to stop yourself. And I think that's going to be a risk roll for you as well.
Yeah, I curse under my breath and quickly pull from my pack sturdy metal piton. Is that how you pronounce it?
Python.
Python. Yeah. That thing.
One of those things.
Jab it into this red vein of clay that we've been climbing down next to try to secure myself.
Great. So it sounds like you're getting a light die for strength in your minor background. Would you like a devil's bargain?
I'll hear them. Yeah.
Nice.
Nevin, do you have one?
Yeah. You don't know if the stories are true in general, but this one at least has something other to it. If you jab a pick in there, you're gonna feel some forces.
Great. Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of love that one. I think, just marked by the giant's blood for sure.
I'll take it.
Awesome. So that's a second light die.
Oh, that's it. Yes, that's what I was going to check out. Okay, yes. So 2 light die for having a skill and a devil's bargain, and that's the maximum I can roll of light die, right? At least for a risk roll. Yeah.
And you can add. You're going to be adding a dark die for risking your body on this one as well.
Fair enough.
For sure. So that's 2 light, 1 dark.
And I guess the question of what could go wrong is, sort of obviously I plummet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see what happens.
Oh, nice. 5 light.
I'm happy with a 5.
Yeah, so your ruin does not go up, which is nice. But you will get a complication. And so you have been marked by the blood of the giants. You've got your the front of your body kind of slid along that red clay, and there's just a blood red smear on your hands, arms.
Yeah, face. Like that. It is like a splatter of red clay across his face. Absolutely.
Yeah, Blood of the Giants. And you managed to get actually on a there's like a little outcropping, and you've actually managed to stop where there's a little like a little indentation or a pocket, maybe a small cave even nearby. And
And
as
where is Nevin in relation to me?
probably a bit above you, has scrambled to a tenuous situation here. Probably still maybe 15 feet above you.
How does it look like the cave like goes in far enough that we would want to explore there?
Yeah, it seems like somewhere that you could get in. It's not, it's maybe 6-8 feet to your right in the wall. You could probably make your way over there relatively safely.
Oh.
Nevin might need a little help, but you might want to not linger too much, because after the sort of rock fall and skittering, grabbing, hammering of your python has stopped, and there's like a silence for a moment, and then you do hear something coming up from beneath, a sort of clacking against the stone. It sounds rather far down, but it's definitely getting louder. What do you do?
Great.
Nevin, can you get down here?
I sort of turn my head and look and turn back to the wall and go, I don't know, can I? You're the expert on these things.
Well, I'd say it's easy enough scramble for someone with some skills.
Great.
You could probably scrape by. You didn't plummet to your death just now. It's a good sign.
That's a great sign. Yeah. Yeah, good. Good.
This is a better start than my last expedition partner. Let me tell you that.
Oh, I am not
Who is
the right
conspicuously absent.
Oh, that's horrifying. I think that is like, given the utter lack of alternatives, that is enough to get Nevin going. He's trying not to think about it. He's trying to believe Orlin. It's not. No part of this is too convincing. He just gotta go.
Yeah. And Orlin definitely gets to this little pocket first, and you can tell immediately that it has actually been carved out of the wall. There's a little ledge and a little landing, and it is a couple feet wide, just wide enough to crawl through. And between your encouragement and maybe a little guidance with the rope that still attaches you, you're able to get Nevin in there as well. Still hearing maybe more than one thing coming up from the bottom now. And it's it's a dark little hole, but Orlin, as you kind of shimmy in there, you can begin to hear from deep within. There's a rhythmic tapping coming from somewhere deeper down in that pocket, like a hammer on a chisel. Something gives you a strange comfort in there. Yeah.
The tapping sounds different than
the click and
clacking.
Clack.
Okay,
yeah,
so
this is a rhythmic tap.
All right.
Tap.
This sounds like what we were warned about.
Yeah.
Yeah, others have heard this. I say we move away from the clacking and towards the tapping.
Yeah. And Orlin, something in here gives you like something is comforting to you in here. Maybe it's the rhythm or the warmth of the earth, or the snugness of the space. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's a sense of rightness, that I'm where I ought to be, and moving in the right direction. And I take out the Morning Knight's Herald for a moment, and it's this this crystal, right, that maybe almost seems to pulse with a very soft light as I like whisper something to it and like hold it to my ear and say, yeah, I think we're where we need to be, moving towards the completion of our quest. And I tuck the crystal away and set off with confidence down this cave.
Awesome. And Nevin, you probably don't feel the same comfort that Orlin has. What's your biggest misgiving about squeezing into this hole?
I mean, how much dirt is above us? Like, that's a rhetorical question. But
a lot, yeah.
But how much dirt is above us? Like, you'd kill a man with like 1% that much dirt. I am putting a lot of trust in A, the unknown maker of this tunnel, and B, the various onomatopoeias not to bring this all down on top of me.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Great. And as you enter the little tunnel, that is the end of ring 1. And we will go right into ring 2. The crawl begins. Yeah, so you're able to make your way. It gets a little bit wider, but not much. Definitely not enough to stand. So you're definitely crawling along the ways here. And this tunnel kind of branches off here and there. Orlin, you probably have a sense, both just from being underground, and also maybe a bit of guidance from the Herald. And I think your confidence leads you deeper and deeper in to a dead end. And you're probably going to have to shimmy out backwards for sure.
That's strange.
Yeah.
What about the tapping noises?
They're still very faint. Just a one still. Tap, tap, tap.
Or just one tapping noise.
Yeah.
And doesn't feel like does it seem any closer than when we were at the beginning of this?
No, it feels
cave?
like it's maybe a little bit farther away.
Something's wrong.
Nevin, do you try to turn around or try to sort of shimmy backwards?
I'm a little bit smaller and a little bit less sure of myself and a little bit more terrified. I definitely am going to see if I can't ball up and rotate.
Yeah.
I feel like if I've got enough room to crawl, I feel like I had enough room to figure something out.
Yeah, and it's very cramped and very dark in here. How do you kind of push against the darkness? Like, do you have a light source? You're kind of trusting in Orlin?
I've so far mostly been trusting in Orlin. I think the rope is still connected.
Yeah.
At the very least, at my request.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
Like, and possibly I've brought in some of the slack.
Yeah.
And so I have a really like Orlin is pulling, and that's good. That's what it looks like for things to be going okay.
Right.
But
So
he says things are a problem and we're stuck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to wriggle and shift and turn and see if I can't put my face out toward the darkness for whatever good that does me.
Yeah, and you're definitely able to do that with some effort. You're tiny enough to get out there, and you were kind of following the dim light from the Herald as you're following Orlin, but in front of you there is nothing but blackness.
Yeah.
How do you kind of navigate that? Like, how do you push your fear down?
So one of my skills is myths.
Mm.
I think I've heard something richer about this tapping sound than the stories that all treasure hunters tell. I think I know that, or I believe strongly that the beings that make it are strange but fundamentally friendlier than the forest. That they're not creatures that are like definitely going to eat me.
Mhm.
They're odd things that can be bargained or pleaded with.
Cool.
And so I think I am on that basis going to try to follow the sound.
Cool.
Going to try to explicitly follow the sound.
Yeah, and as you kind of you're kind of shimmying around and getting yourself reoriented, you're definitely still like out of breath, partly from maybe the exertion and partly from the claustrophobia kind of pressing in, and
Sure.
you're just still just like it's both, you know, your sweat from your exertion and the like dampness of the cave underground here. So yeah, you push into the darkness, and you kind of, as you go back, you realize that the path is split more than once, and it's difficult to figure out which way you came from, but the tapping is definitely louder down one path, if that's the direction you'd like to go.
Yeah, I think that's my instinct here. If Orland doesn't yell anything resembling a direction, with me in front, that's what I do.
Yeah, and this is kind of by feel too.
Yep.
And sound. Orland, you're probably also able to turn around after some effort as well.
Yeah, I think first I will try to mark this dead end,
Mhm.
just so we can recognize it if we run into it again.
Yeah.
And I like take some of the like red clay that is on me, and just try to leave like a X on this wall, you know, that you could like very dimly make out in the
Yeah.
tiny small glow of the herald, or try to find by feel if we hit another dead end and want to make sure we haven't been here before.
Excellent. And as you're maybe you're a little bit impressed by the supposed courage of your companion, pressing into the darkness without anything guiding him.
Courage or foolhardiness.
Yeah, or foolishness. Not
But
a rare
either's
trait.
better than a coward. Can't stand treasure hunting with cowards.
Man, I had enough of whatever it is to get me this far.
That's the spirit.
And as you're, you know, you just left this dead end, but you're not sure if it's your kind of intuition as a delver, or maybe it's something that the herald has whispered to you, but it feels like you don't hear anything or feel anything, but you get like the hairs on your neck standing up a little bit, and you feel like there's not even that there's something in the darkness stalking you, but the darkness itself is somehow stalking you. How do you know that? How do you feel that?
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, hairs standing on end, you know, almost like someone's breathing down my neck, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not breath exactly.
Yeah, maybe it's just the wind, you know, the air blowing out of the cave. Could be it. In fact, it's probably something like that. Just you definitely do feel a you know, there are currents.
No use.
As
No
they may
use
be.
worrying Nevin about something like this.
And Nevin has made some good progress. He's scuttled a bit forward. And Nevin, you can definitely hear the tapping getting louder, and maybe more than one. It's hard to tell, but you're definitely drawn in that direction. And Orlin, what kind of sound would normally alert you to a cave-in?
A cave-in. I guess there's a ominous crackle turning into a rumble, and for too many miners, that's the last thing they hear.
Yeah, and that's the sound that you hear, and it sounds like, and maybe it's just because you're down so deep, maybe you were convinced that it was happening somewhere else, but before you can even think about it, part of the tunnel caves in, and it's the part that is between you and Nevin.
And of course, there's a rope trapped underneath it.
Yeah, just piling onto that rope, completely filling the passage. You're not stuck in the dead end. You've definitely found a couple forks here and there. So you're not
okay, got it. There were some forks along the way we
Yeah.
didn't take. Okay.
So there are places to explore, but right now the two of you are stuck together in a cave-in. And Nevin, you are in complete darkness now.
Oh boy.
I think I'd like you to make a ruin roll here. This is awful.
Yeah.
Both from the the cave-in, who knows if Orlin's alive or not, and from just being plunged into this the darkness that you're unaccustomed to.
I'm mostly sure that I'm alive.
Yeah. So to do a ruin roll, I believe there's a thing up there to click. It's just going to be one dark die. If the die is higher than your ruin, it goes up. Looks like you may have disconnected from the roller.
The roller is giving me a tiny bit of trouble. Give me just 1 second to see if it will take me back.
Sockets are fun.
Oh no. Okay, it's not the roller that's giving me trouble. It's my mouse that's good enough.
A 3, great. And your ruin is 3. So
Yep.
you are okay. What makes you feel not safe, but not completely panicked? Like what are you able to hold on to?
I think that I think I have a feel of how much rope I lost when the cave went down. And there's enough slack in my picture of what that was for me to feel like I know Orlin's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how much good that does me, but it's enough to not totally fall to shit right now.
Are you easily able to untie the rope or cut it?
Oh yeah.
I imagine Orlin also is adept at this.
Yeah.
Orlin, this is pretty disturbing. What makes you think that something really bad happened to Devin, aside from the obvious?
I hear something like during the like confused moments of the cave-in, I heard something that sounded like a strangled scream, and assumed probably it was Nevin getting crushed to death. who knows what I heard, but that's what Orland's working with.
Do you try to dig through it, or try to pull the rope or tap to communicate, or what's your miner's instinct in a case like this?
There's only so much to be done here. No no natural means necessarily of pulling that boy out of this, but I got a couple tricks up my sleeve just in case.
Hmm.
So I think I like put my hands against the stones and start to mutter under my breath and attempt a ritual here.
Ooh, I love that. So rituals are always a risk roll.
Yeah.
What's your intention behind this?
So I have unfall, temporarily reverse gravity in a small area, with the hope being to make a bunch of rocks go, up instead of down,
Mhm.
and clear a path of sorts to at least get a view of is there anything left of Nevin? Do I need to try and is there something to recover at all, or if not, shall I continue as a solo treasure hunter?
Awesome. So you have a skill in ritual. That sounds like a light die for that.
Yeah. And a
Would you
dark
like?
die because it's a ritual.
Yeah, and a dark die comes as ritual. You're definitely risking there. Would you like a devil's bargain?
I'll hear some.
I think obvious one is that no matter what happens, whether you're able to lift some of it to see if he's okay or not, you're unable to get to him through
Oh,
the cave in. You might be able to find another way.
That one's too fun. I'm not going to suggest an alternative to that.
Awesome. Do you accept that devil's bargain?
No. I think I'll stick with my dice as is and
Cool.
see what happens.
Awesome. So that's one light and one dark.
Yeah. Calling on this power that I carry, which I think Orland attributes it rightly or wrongly to his holy mission to find the resting ground of the morning night.
Yeah.
I am going to call on this ritual.
Ooh,
That
nice.
5 light,
5 light.
natural. I'll take it.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, if you are so one of the other dice things is if you are unhappy with your roll and the dark die is not the highest, you can re-roll to try and get a 6 if you like, or you can stick with your 5 and get a complication.
Yeah. That's fine by me. 5 and a complication.
Cool. Yeah, this is great. So yeah, this is Nevin, you hear what sounds like a second cave-in about to happen. This is terrifying beyond belief, to die alone in this tiny tunnel.
Gotta go off camera for a moment, but I'll try to keep listening.
Cool. But the ceiling doesn't come down. In fact, it seems as if there's some light coming from the direction of what feels like where the cave-in happened. And after a moment there, the earth opens. The ceiling is being lifted just a bit, and you can see the glow of the herald, the faint red glow coming out from underneath, and you hear the muttering and chanting of Orland's ritual. He's somehow cajoled the earth into making way. It's a very, very tight fit. Cavers can fit into ridiculously small spaces. It's definitely like not more than a foot high and not that much wider. but one of you would be able to crawl through it to the other.
Okay, well, I'm the skinny one. Much as I'm not pumped about it, I think I'm gonna take the opening.
Cool. And as you turn, uh, you notice something on the ground that um, you couldn't see because it was dark before. But as you kind of shuffle your way around and start turning around again, actually your hand grazes it first. It's the wooden haft of a well-used hammer, um, and right nearby, right next to the hammer, is the head and part of an arm of a uh, beautifully carved, life-size, seems like a statue of a child. The head is, about, 8 inches across, and the arm is child-sized, near the hammer, and it's shaped as if it had been gripping it. But this is a extraordinary. It's made of stone. It's granite, but the craftsmanship, even as dim light, you can tell is incomparable. It's broken, of course. You know that recovering an unbroken statue like this would fund your expedition 10 times over. What do you do?
Shit. I mean, this one, this one's probably not gonna solve my problems, but I think I want Orland to know about it. So as I head over, I think I try to drag what I can.
Um, yeah, and you take the head,
Yeah,
and it kind of, turn it over and looking at it, and the it reminds you of someone. Who does the face remind you of? And like why do you miss that person?
oh, think I think it reminds me of one of my nephews.
Hmm.
Um, my sister's third son. Um, I think that he he sort of alone among the better put together members of my family took interest in my doings.
Hmm.
Um, and when he when he disappeared, it was hard on everyone, but out of the whole family, it was hardest on me. Or like it was most surprisingly hard on me. My sister obviously missed him a lot, but she has so many children. He was the only child I really cared about.
Yeah, it's not exactly, but definitely it has features that remind you of him.
Ugh.
Do you push the statue ahead of you, or do you try and pull it behind?
I think I think ahead.
Cool. Um,
I think it's like, my hands are out front because
yeah,
I'm pretty close to prone trying to wiggle through this. And so my
yeah,
hands are out front and it's in one.
yeah. Let's wait for Orland to come back to see what happens over here.
I mean,
Yeah, and you're still. It might actually make your wriggling easier. You're just like still completely drenched
right.
with sweat. I'm actually gonna step away for a moment to grab a drink here.
Makes
Back
sense.
in just a minute.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries.
The girls seem to be settled. If you just, if I can take just one more minute to grab some of my things, I can be set up to continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, back in a moment.
Alexi is probably my friend I'm closest to who has young children. It's been interesting watching bedtime evolve. It used to be much smoother. It's gotten worse.
Yeah, it will continue to change for sure.
All right, I am
Alrighty.
back.
Awesome. When we left, we had Nevin attempting to push the head of a statue through the small hole that you made.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Orlin,
And
you
also
can
himself.
say again.
And also himself.
Yes, and also himself. Um, Nevin, how do you let Orlin know that you are in fact alive and on the other side of that hole?
I mean, I think it's a little involuntary, right? Like I definitely think at first glance of the glowing gemstone, there's like a holy shit, Orlin.
Mhm.
I think it becomes like I don't think I could hide it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like pretty clear to me what's happening here, in as much as I sort of vaguely know what a ritual sounds like. And so I mostly don't want to interrupt him. But I'm not being extremely subtle. Like he's heard my voice using his name, and I am now like making some shuffling noises as I come through this incredibly tenuous hole that he's got open for me.
You survived too, Antiquarian.
Yeah.
A lucky day for us.
Yep.
Yeah, and Orlin, the spiritual strain of keeping this ritual going while whatever transport happens, is definitely, you're feeling this. You've always been kind of like a natural when it comes to mining, and this is the first time you've felt like, it's not even claustrophobia, it's more that the pressure of the earth and stone above you is kind of making you nauseous.
Well, I'm holding it up, which is
Yeah.
usually not how one approaches mining.
Yeah, you're definitely like feeling definitely off balance just from the pressure you're exerting upward is similarly sort of weighing on you internally as well. And the cave-in is, not insignificant. There's a good like 8 feet of hole about that big to crawl through, and that head will definitely just fit. So you're pushing the head and arm out in front of you, you said?
Definitely the head. I'm not sure that I bothered with the arm.
Okay, great.
But I've got the head out in front of me, and I'm like basically on my stomach wriggling, right? Like it's a small enough thing that I'm not even really like, I'm using my like toes a little bit, but really
Yeah.
these are basically useless at this point.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a risk roll as well.
Yeah.
Definitely getting through safely feels risky to me.
Let me highlight one mechanic we haven't used yet, but there is a help roll.
Yeah.
Where I could assist Brian as he makes a risk roll.
Yeah, and you can do that before or after too. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, I don't totally know how that works, but I know that I want some.
Yeah.
So you would accept my help.
Almost certain. I am currently accepting your help.
All right.
Cool. So the way that help works is that Orlin would roll 1 light die and say how you're exposing yourself to danger by helping him. And if the result on your light die matches any of the dark dice, then you will take a ruin.
Yeah, so I think the danger is by kind of speaking to Nevin, right? Trying to boost his confidence a little bit and guide him through. I could get too distracted and have some of the ritual might start coming down on my head here a little bit, which would be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely one of the dangers, is that the ritual falters and you are trapped by falling earth.
So let's see, if I just click help, does it do it automatically for me? Roll a single light die.
I think so. Yeah, give it a shot. Cool. So your help is a 3.
All right.
So Nevin, do you feel like any of your skills are going to get you a light die there?
That's a good question, but I think no.
Cool. Would you like a devil's bargain?
I would certainly hear some.
Do you have anything, Orlin?
What is your stuff? Devil's bargain. You lose some important tome you're carrying in your on your person as you attempt to squeeze through here.
Have to leave them behind. It's not enough room. Yeah, let's. I'm not sure. Yeah. Do you accept that bargain?
Yeah, I'll take Alexi's.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can't think of another one there. Great. So that's another light die. And doesn't feel like you are necessarily risking mind or body to get through there unless you want to add a dark die for that.
I mean, you can roll, you can re-roll with added dark die if you're not satisfied with the first
That's
time
true.
around.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's just roll one light die, and we've got a 3, which does not help, and we've got another 3, which also is very bad.
Yeah, all right. I'll take a dark die. I feel I definitely, this is a shuffle.
Yeah. So you're gonna re-roll with one light and one dark for that.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
I get one light and one dark.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. 4 is mixed success.
4 is a mixed success. Are you happy with a 4, or would you like to shoot for a full success?
I will say I will end up taking a ruin here, won't I? Because
Yep.
the
Yeah,
3 matches.
You've got less than I do.
Hmm.
So if I do re-roll,
Mm-hmm.
if
You
I
will
do
add
re-roll, if I get
one dark
something
die,
worse,
yeah.
I get a worse outcome.
Yes.
And-
But if the light die is still the highest, then you could re-roll by adding dark dice until you're satisfied.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think my odds are not necessarily improving. I'm sorry, Alexi. I'm taking the partial here.
All right.
Okay.
Great. Orlin takes a ruin for that. And you make
It's possible this
through.
helping mechanic is not actually meant to be helpful.
Yeah, weird, right? Yeah, so the complication. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you it takes a while to get through. It's a very tight squeeze. Maybe not an hour, but it's incredibly tight, incredibly uncomfortable. And Orlin is do you want to describe how the effort has raised your ruin?
Yeah, I think just he's kind of like he's using the ritual, but it's like what the ritual's doing is letting him just lift all this earth, like it's like what the ritual did was just give, increase his grasp and strength, but it still feels like the pressure of everything pushing downwards is on him. And I think maybe his feet like sink into the ground below, right, which didn't seem soft before, but suddenly like a bit of it gives way, so he's like kind of as Nevin is starting to squeeze by, we see Orlin is just like kind of partially embedded in the earth, at least for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and the first thing you see is this child's head. This statue. Nevin must.
Bloody hells, Nevin! Where did you find that thing?
Yeah, Nevin must imagine that it's incredibly valuable to send it ahead of himself.
Look at it. It's gorgeous work, whatever it is. I found a head and an arm, but if there are whole ones down there, that might be our fortune.
Is this the sort of thing antiquarians pay for?
Shit, or kings.
And here I thought we were just gonna find some gold or jewels or the usual things they send us miners after.
Easier to carry. I won't argue if we find them, but keep your eyes out for more of this craft work.
All right.
Yeah, and as you wriggle the last bit out, drawing your legs out of the hole, I think the ritual gives out. Like as soon as he's safe, you are able to let it go, and the earth just closes back up there.
Yeah, that tracks.
And you're still feeling the effects. You're still in this narrow tunnel. You feel that if you had to stand up right now, you would have difficulty maintaining your balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this was just an incredible toll on your body and spirit. holding this up for so long. Nevin, this I think this as you spent time in the hole with this head, I imagine you were probably sort of twisting it and turning it to sort of almost like dig a way out or force it through. It's almost like you're almost giving birth to this thing with you behind. But the at several points the face was turned to you, and even in the dark with the the glow of the herald, like mostly blocked, you feel like you could still feel the face, the presence of it. And I think you've become incredibly attached to this statue, and letting it out of your grasp, it doesn't feel like something that you would want to do, really. I don't think you can give up this head for any reason right now. It's definitely, you've become attached to it.
Well, want me to carry that for you?
I've got it, thanks.
All right, just careful. You're gonna be, you have fewer hands for movement if you're clutching that thing.
I'll figure it out. Thank you.
And Orlin, once you get a good look at it in the dim light there, the question is phrased as, why do you neglectfully overlook the residual evidence of binding and bottling sorcery on the statue?
Why do I neglectfully overlook the residual evidence of sorcery? Yeah, I think it makes me a little queasy to look at, so I don't look at it very long. I'm just like, we've got enough problems to deal with. I'm not gonna stare at this weird thing that Nevin's decided to bring. If he says it's valuable, that's good enough for me. And hey, if he's carrying it, then it's then I don't need to deal with it.
Great.
I think I pop a button and nestle it into my shirt.
Ooh, yeah. It's going to make crawling a little bit more difficult, but it's worth it.
Is it going to make it more difficult than holding it in my hand? Probably not.
It's hard to tell, yeah. But you manage one way or the other, and Orlin gets turned back around, and you start feeling your way back around to see if you can find a way to go one way or the other. And
any path but the one we know that leads to a dead end.
Yeah. And that closes up ring 2. And we'll jump into ring 3.
Is my relationship with this head a condition?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Attached to the statue head. But you've been reunited now, and it's a frustrating, long, claustrophobic crawl through these tunnels. You backtrack a lot. You come up against the dead end more than once, but you manage to sort of leave. You're this is not new to Orlin, and you've developed ways to sort of mark your path, and eventually you get a feel for the kind of shape of the tunnels. But it takes it's hard to tell down here, but it's hours at least for sure. And as you're something, Orlin starts again, the sort of not the same tingle as something following you, but this nagging feeling that when Nevin was on the other side of that cave-in, and again, like now that you've been down here for who knows how long, it's hard for you to kind of remember how long they were on the other side or how long it took. Could have been a few minutes, could have been an hour before you figured out how to get them through. And as you kind of occasionally the rope is no longer connecting you, so checking to make sure that they're there. You start getting the feeling that something changed about Nevin while they were on the other side. What about them proves to you that they are not who they say they are now?
Oh wow. I think we're kind of making our way down one of these tunnels, and I make kind of an offhand reference to, so you think when you sell that thing, you'll raise the funds you need to help your sibling out of a bind to that fortress, right? Just and something about Nevin's reaction, it just doesn't fit for me.
Yeah,
is that legit to put out there?
Yeah, I think it's a no, not this one, not quite, no. But this very strong no that's like walked back into something that sounds sort of reasonable.
Yeah, this one isn't worth anything. You need a full statue, like for sure. This one's, you better hang on to this one. Yeah. Yeah, how does that make you feel, Orlin, to know that something has replaced the person you came down here with almost?
Yeah, it's like who's really doing the thinking back there? It's the head made of flesh or the head made of stone?
Yeah. Do you think there's any way that you could prove, or that Nevin could prove that they are themselves to you?
I think I'm going to say, I'd love to take a look at that thing, actually, just to try to understand more of what we're looking for here. Do you mind just giving it to me for a moment?
You don't mind if I hang on to it, do you?
I'll give it right back to you, and I put out my hand.
I think I like have it tightly clutched, and I like offer it like visibly, but like in a clear, like, I'm not giving this to you sort of way. Like, please do observe it, but I'm not letting go.
I will try and take a closer look. Are there any like cracks or evidence of damage on the statue head?
Yeah, I mean, it's not in great shape to your eyes. It's it was definitely broken off roughly from the statue itself, and although maybe Nevin doesn't see it, it's definitely there's cracks, there's pits, maybe parts have fallen off or chipped away. It's not great. It's just a stone head.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to apply some pressure to one of those cracked areas and accidentally break the head.
Ooh.
And if anything of the real Nevin's left, maybe it'll be back after I get rid of this thing.
Yeah, I think you are able to crack it. Like you probably need to use a tool. I'm not sure you could use your hands at this point.
That does make it harder to make it. That does make it harder to make it seem like an accident. I don't know. Maybe I say like, oh, look, I think I see something there. Let me just I got too small to get my finger in there. I gotta poke at it, right? And as I pretend I'm just trying to like lever something out of a crack in the statue with like a little, a little pick, right? But then I like twist the pick in hopes of breaking the thing apart.
Yeah, you're definitely able to cleave it. It kind of cleaves in like a third of the the left side of the face kind of falls off. Um, Nevin,
Oops.
this flawless, beautiful thing. Orland just intentionally destroyed it. It maybe he's jealous. It's hard to
You
tell.
hate this is lunatic. How are we supposed to get anything of any value out of here if you destroy everything you touch?
You said this one wasn't valuable.
But if you don't have the capacity to use any care anywhere, what is wrong with you?
I think the real question is what's going on with you, Nevin. You haven't been the same since that cave-in.
I squeezed myself through that stupid hole just to follow you, and you repay me by what? By destroying things for no reason. Why?
You're getting a little emotional.
I'm very emotional.
Well,
This is an emotional day. We have spent a lot of time in a dark hole.
exactly. Who knows how much air is left?
Yeah, and
Let's,
Nevin,
let's try and calm down.
yeah, the Orland says that Jem speaks to him sometimes, and you're pretty sure that like it's not audible, and maybe it's just you remembering it whispering to you over the last few hours. But the head has definitely been trying to say something to you, and I think now that it's cracked open, again, it's not an audible an audible noise, but you definitely feel like something was hurt when it broke. What is? And I think you actually like, you before you can catch yourself, you find yourself kind of cradling the head and just like stroking this beautiful face that's been ruined. And like when the it's kind of cracked through one of the eyes, and when the eye and a half catches you, what do you feel like it's saying to you?
I think it's saying it didn't have to be this way. Just this really clear pain sense of regret, like pointed at me.
Mhm.
Like I failed it. It didn't have to be this way.
You say that out loud?
I think what I say instead is you hurt him.
What do you mean him?
What do you mean? What do I mean? Did you see the face before you destroyed it?
It's just a statue, Nevin. Get over it.
I think I'm gonna need a ruin roll from Nevin. This it feels like when the head split, like something inside you broke as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Miss my nephew a great deal.
Yeah,
So 2.
that is a 2, which means your ruin goes up. That is a 3 now.
Wait.
Oh no, it's under. Yeah, so it does not go up.
Okay.
It stays. Yeah, and maybe some of Orland's words reach you a little bit, but this is still this still weighs on you for sure. It's almost as if he's attacked your nephew.
I think he's a big guy, and I'm hurt and scared.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my inclination is to sort of retreat into myself a little bit and see if we can't just like make it through if I shut up. I think I'm sulking.
What do you do with the head that's broken?
I mean, I think it goes back where it was before this monster asked me to show it to him.
Do you try
Um,
to piece it together somehow?
I think I take the largest piece that was broken off with me in addition, but I don't think that's like I'm not actively trying to mend it at this moment. I just feel weird leaving part behind.
Cool. I think you continue in silence for a little bit more. And Orlin, you definitely noticed this first, I think. The tapping, which had kind of fallen away as you had moved around, and the tunnels going up and down and twisting. You're not sure what direction is which, but you feel like you've gotten kind of a bead on where that tapping sound is coming from, and you're able to go towards it. And as it becomes louder, you notice that there's actually two speeds of tapping, basically. There's the sort of rhythmic tap tap tap, which definitely sounds like a hammer on chisel. Maybe more than one, it's hard to tell. But there's another noise behind it. It's not quite as loud. It's a more accelerated tapping. It sounds almost like a heartbeat, a faster heartbeat. And as you kind of maneuver your way, you've marked off the obvious dead ends. You know which ways lead back to the cave-in. It's hard to tell. You can find basically the breeze that you had felt before. You feel like if you sort of follow that gradient, go in the direction that it's coming from, you can get deeper. And in fact, the tapping and the heartbeat are definitely getting louder in that direction.
The breeze is coming from that, or like the air is moving.
Yeah.
Oh, like
it's coming out of the cave into there. And this is not unusual. It's maybe there's a heat source down there. Any number of things could cause it. It's not like a breeze. It's just you notice, like, if you had a torch, it would slightly go in that direction. It's just your miner's instinct, like that's probably the way deeper down in. But yeah, that heartbeat is and after a little while, it's getting louder. Like, I think you both can definitely hear it now. And Orlin, you notice that you're like, at what point do you realize that your heart is beating in sync with that second heartbeat sound?
I think it happens very gradually, and then kind of all at once, right? And I'd had like a sneaking sense of something, and then it's like, oh, of course, I am in tune with the earth.
Yeah, and that's
This
definitely
must mean we're getting closer.
Yeah. And you feel like you're still, you've been crawling around for hours and hours and hours, and it's almost like you feel you're closer to the earth than you ever have been before, and this crawling around feels natural. In fact, the sort of nausea and imbalance still sticks with you, and crawling just feels like natural to you at this point. Nevin maybe less so. Still sweating, still exhausted, even more so as you go along, but sulking. But Nevin Orlin seems almost invigorated, like crawling faster, becoming more sure as the tapping and the heartbeat become. The crawl's not a condition. No, it's just that's just what you're feeling. You feel that closeness to the earth.
Yeah. I've written it down under notes.
Cool. But yeah, Nevin Orlin is feeling like he's moving faster. He seems more sure of himself, and as that as the tapping noises and the heartbeat become louder, definitely kind of picks up the pace a little bit. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I can still remember when I would have felt good about that. But Orlin is nuts, and
Yeah.
you just like don't know what like what a creature who's so enthusiastic about destruction might love in addition to that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and this tapping noise is definitely very audible, definitely coming from more than one place, and it almost feels like why does this tapping seem more important than the reason that you originally came down here to you at this point, Nevin? There's something important about this tapping.
Which tapping?
The rhythmic hammer on chisel tapping.
I
Like,
mean,
something about this is important to you.
the statue was holding a chisel.
Yeah,
The statue was holding a hammer and chisel. It's connected to that sound in some way, and I know that.
yeah. Maybe you can
feel
find
like- I feel
someone
like there's-
who's carving these statues.
I don't know. I just feel like there's like an important truth about the world and about my life that I'll learn when I meet the originator of that sound.
Yeah, I think the mark by the giant's blood was a condition. Yep. Yeah, and I guess the same question to you, Nevin. Like now that Orlin is, from your perspective, become like almost possessed by this urge to drive forward.
Did you just flip the names?
I'm Nevin. Orlin is becoming driven.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. From Nevin's view, Orlin seems to have like transformed into this driven creature.
Yeah.
And maybe you're getting the same feeling that he's not who he said he was.
Yeah.
Is there something specific about his behavior that's telling you that?
I mean, for this whole trip, he's been super thoughtful and methodical. He's been marking things, he's been watching his step, he's been using every ounce of light he had. And now it feels like he's a mole. He's going by instinct. He's going faster than could possibly be safe given how far he can see ahead of his face. Like he's not thinking, he's not checking, he's just going. And I struggle to keep up with him because I sure as shit don't want to lose him. But what exactly am I following? I'm not sure.
Yeah. But it seems like he's leading you in the right direction, because the tunnel that you've been crawling through for who knows how long is starting to expand, widen, and get a little bit higher until it becomes wide enough to actually stand in. And before you realize it, it actually opens up into a larger, you could even call this a cave at this point. The ceiling is out of reach. It would take a while to walk across it, or walk from one end to the other. The passage has widened enough that you can actually call it like a cave that you're walking through. Orlin, do you stand? And this
kind of a half crouch, I think.
Yeah.
Just don't want to lose that connection that was those.
Yeah, it's like keeping your fingertips on the ground, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. And as the space widens up, it's not a blast, but you definitely feel like cool, fresh air. Like you've been in this tunnel breathing each other's air for so long, and as it opens up into this larger cave, that there's definitely, especially for you, Nevin, this feeling of relief that like you can stand up if you want to, you can stretch, uncramp, take a breath. It feels good blowing the sweat evaporating off your body. You're actually a little bit invigorated by that as well. And I think that's when you're stretching, you can kind of make out on the ceiling a thin red vein of something. It's at least 20 feet up. You definitely can't reach it, but do you point that out to Orlin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the one with the light. I wanna. Hey, do you see that?
I'll take a look at what Nevin's pointing me at.
Yeah, there's definitely, it starts as just a crack and widens out to a couple inches. And as you sort of hold the light up to it, there's a certain gleam to it, and you can tell that this is a seam of rough ruby in the ceiling, and it seems to be getting wider in the direction that you were heading. And your miner's instincts tell you that if you continue to follow that, there will be more where that came from, and maybe you can actually get to a place where you can mine some of it out.
See, this is more like it. Not creepy statue heads, but good hard gemstones. Kings and merchants and jewelers in Amberay will pay good money for a supply of rubies. Maybe a mining company would even set up shop here once we bring enough back that they know the place is good for it. And of course, there'd be a substantial finder's fee to negotiate. Stick with me, Nevin. I think our day's starting to look up.
And Nevin, this makes sense. Chunks of unpolished ruby, in your pockets and bags, definitely easier to transport out of the cave if you can get out, than a child-sized statue made of stone. But for some reason, the idea of that statue still really compels you. Why is that?
I mean, it's just like Orlin is a miner. Orlin has worked in a lot of mines. He's worked in enough mines to know what a vein of ruby looks like. Like, this is out there. It's not special to hear. This is an awful lot of work to be going through for something that you can get in any regular mine out there in the world somewhere. But if there's something special, if there is a lost craftsmanship in here, even if it's insane to try to get it out, like you've at least got to think about it.
Yeah. Do you say anything about that to Orlin?
I don't think so. I think he's just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, I think he'd say that about any art or craft. He just likes rocks. That's his deal.
Yeah. What do you think you would do if if it came to it, like you have a bunch of rubies to take out, and you would, that seems like that would just weigh you down. Well, what do you think you would do if he tried to force you?
Force me to carry a bunch of rubies?
Yeah.
I feel like I can always drop them later.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not. I don't have to. For all I know, I'm never going to see one of these statues again. For all I know, like, as much as I'd like to, I've seen the only remains, and actually they would have to start a mining operation down here before we dug up another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm not going to throw everything away just to make it like possibly slightly easier. But if I actually came face to face with one, that would be a different question, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't mind carrying some rocks in the meantime, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very easy to follow through. The light from the herald is dim. You can't see very far, but you can definitely follow this vein, which is widening out. Orlin, this is although your heart continues to beat in sync with the earth, you definitely feel the adrenaline and excitement of like you've struck a big. This is you can definitely, the mother lode is just around the corner.
This could be the mother lode. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm loping forward to try and find where this widening vein of ruby leads me.
Yeah. And I think that takes us out of ring 3. And as we follow the widening cavern towards the tap tap tap, and the noises become louder, and there's definitely more of them. We enter ring 4, and the cave, while widening out, it is a variable size and twists and turns up and down still. It's still cool and moist, but it's very easy to follow this vein of ruby. And the tapping and the heartbeat both become louder and louder. And the path you're following sort of goes up a little bit and then falls down. And when you reach the rise of it, you discover the source of the tapping. You can finally see what is causing this. Who comes over the rise first? Is it Orlin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm leading the way.
Yeah.
No, I'm standing up, so if that matters. I
Oh
might-
yeah, that's true. So you might actually see this first. The cave widens out into like it's a cavern, and arrayed around mostly the edges of the cavern, there are hundreds of masterfully carved stone figures the shape and size of children. Each one is holding a hammer, and they are hammering at the walls of this cave. This is where the tap tap tapping sound, and it's not entirely in unison, but close enough. And occasionally, one will stop and cry out. And Nevin, it's not exactly your nephew's voice, but it almost sounds like he's calling out for his mother. I think both of you have heard folk tales of like the little people living in the earth. Maybe not exactly like this, but what have you heard about things like this?
Miners like to talk about this sort of thing. They say these are each the reflection of a miner who was lost in the depths, that sometimes the miner's soul can't find its way to anywhere but stone, and so it takes on that stone as flesh and keeps trying to dig towards some other afterlife, I suppose.
I've definitely heard some stories about creatures like this. And the biggest thing I think is that the biggest thing I've heard is that they're just not concerned with us. They probably won't even realize we're here unless we make ourselves very, very obvious to them. And it's not, I've in many of the stories, it feels like people just sort of walk by or even struggle to engage them if they try.
Yeah, I think this is just not, it's not, definitely not worth a ruin roll. It's a stunning sight though, and I think you're both after being cramped in the dark for so long, this wide open space with this wondrous sight just makes you pause for a moment.
Is there another source of light in here?
Yeah, actually, as you kind of take it in, the children's eyes glow. It kind of reminds you of the light from the beacon. But as your eyes kind of adjust and you're taking this in, the holes that they are hammering into the earth, you can occasionally catch a glimpse of that raw ruby. The vein above you has kind of petered out a bit, but it's clear, especially to Orlin, that uh, there are these glowing red rubies just beyond the wall. And in fact, Orlin, you can feel that that heartbeat, like almost the glow from these holes the statues are making in the wall, like almost seem to pulse in time with your heart as well. Yeah.
I kind of say under my breath, looks like there's another operation already here. That complicates things.
Nevin, what is the sight of like not only one but hundreds of these statues? Like what feelings does that bring up in you?
Fear, like possibly good fear, maybe something closer to awe,
Mhm.
but like awe and respect and joy and fear that this like seeing them there is one thing. Seeing them move and their dedication to purpose. I both feel this like immense attachment to them and this sense that like maybe it's wrong to disturb them.
Yeah.
That they have a purpose. And it feels it already feels sort of like I'm defiling something by walking in here. I really just don't. I want to watch, but they feel like they're commanding my respect in a way that I don't quite know how to actualize.
Yeah. And I think it's it is actually awesome, right? And you probably stand there just watching them for a while, and after not too long, um, not too far away from you, you see one of uh, the hammer that one of the child statues is holding breaks the head, strikes the earth, and the wooden handle snaps back, and the child discards it, and they fall to their knees and start digging at the earth with their hands, with their fingers, and their fingers as they smash into the rock, begin to crumble away, turn into pebbles. They're just hammering at it so hard and wearing their hands away. Um, and as they've kind of deviated from the mining proper, one of the other statues kind of stumbles into it, kind of trips over it, and finding its way back to where it should be, falls in the path of the digging, and the digging one doesn't stop. It continues to dig into its sibling, basically, and as every strike it makes with its fast crumbling hands, there's screams come out of the child's mouth. uh, they almost feel like it's hitting the wall. It's hitting them so hard that the screams themselves are kind of pulverized as they come out, and as the scream reverberates through the chamber, you feel Orlin feels your connection to the earth. You can feel it kind of reverberate when a child screams, and eventually it's ground to gravel, to pebbles, and the one child has worn its arm almost entirely away and continues like almost on its belly, just stumping at the ground while the others continue their work.
Is there? You said the one was turned into pebbles.
Yeah.
there's no like identifiable bits of it left, like the.
I mean,
the
there
head that
probably are. You could
Nevin
get,
found before. Yeah.
yeah, definitely not a full piece. You know, you can tell it's from something that has been worked, but it is in small pieces. Especially where it fell in front of the other child. Probably the legs are the most intact part.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
like if I can get to it, I'll grab one of these, broken off legs,
Mm.
and kind of heft it a little bit just to see what I've got here. And I'm like,
How close do you feel like you could get to one of them before it notices you?
I mean, you tell me, right? I'm kind of moving in cautiously, but I got my eyes on the rubies they're mining, seeing if there's any, any spot they're not currently working over where I could try and chip a few away for myself.
Yeah. I feel like this is a risk roll. Yeah, this is
roll.
definitely risky getting this close.
Yeah. Okay. So, the risk is they spot me and are unhappy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think could go wrong if they decide to take umbrage at your grabbing?
Is that a question for him or a question for me?
For you, for Nevin.
I mean, we just watched them absolutely obliterate one of their own out of pure ignorance.
Yeah.
Like whatever they do out of malice is gonna be ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think pulverization is definitely on the menu there. If you can't get away in time.
Yeah, fair.
Do you think any of your skills give you a light die here?
I wonder about paths, if it's about like finding the least, obvious approach, at least the stealthiest approach here.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right.
What do you think about Devil's Bargains?
I will hear them.
Nevin, any ideas?
I think that these glowing rubies might, on the surface, basically be rubies. But I think down here, they have an intuitive draw to whatever it is that's seeking them. That carrying a pocket full of them is basically a homing beacon for either these creatures or whatever sent them.
Got it. So no matter what, if I end up with any rubies, they're also things that draw danger towards me.
Yeah.
Another one might be no matter what the wails of the child that you're sneaking near. Well, no, I guess that wouldn't be the same. I think maybe a devil's bargain might be that if you when you grab the leg of one, you become similarly obsessed as Nevin was.
I think I'll take the homing beacon rubies one.
Awesome. Cool. So that's another light die. I feel this is definitely risking your body, risking getting pulverized.
I mean,
actually,
I'm,
no,
I'm risking getting pulverized.
Yeah, I don't think that's worth a dark die actually.
I mean, we'll see if the light dies don't turn out. Maybe I'll add a dark die.
Yeah, so let's just go with the two light dice.
There's a 5.
There is a 5. Would you like to keep the 5, or would you like to try for a 6?
Try for a 6. Well, I say I'm gonna try for a 6. See
You want
what
me
I
to
do
try to
here.
help you for a 6?
I mean, you can if you want to. How do you how do you try and help?
Yeah.
I mean,
How would you put yourself in danger to help him?
So I have a skill in. And I think that if that I can, from my stories, sort of construct a mental model of where they're going and where they're looking.
Mm.
And so I can augment Orland's path with some extra places to avoid.
Nice. And how does that put you at risk?
I think I have to get a lot closer. I think I can't even point this stuff out to him without at least getting down from the overlook and sort of
Yeah.
being in the shit. I don't think I have to follow him the whole way to the wall, but I think I don't get to keep my safe vantage.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, go ahead and roll a light die.
All right.
4. Cool. Do you still want to go for a 6?
because the 4 doesn't do me any favors right at the
If he
moment.
rolls, does he get to keep the 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 4 gives you a floor on your reroll. At least.
That's true. That's actually that's a pretty good point. Yeah. Let me re-roll it with the
dark die and see what happens.
See what happens.
Still got a 4 there.
Still got a 4. Still
Would you like to add another dark die and try
no ruin
again?
for either of us? Yeah, let's see where this takes us. This takes us nowhere good.
Still at a 4.
Yeah.
We're still at a 4. Your ruin doesn't increase.
And the dark die, the dark 3 is your highest. So that is where the reroll stop.
I can't. The reroll stop. Okay, so
Okay.
so the 4
that was horrifying, but didn't actually cost us in the roll 2 extra times. I feel good about that.
Just the stress of it. Okay, yeah. So it's a mixed success.
Cool. Yeah. So the rubies are homing beacons. So you're able to grab one of the legs with some of the like you're about to almost crawl into the path of one, and Nevin is like, stop. To the left. Wait. Okay, go now. And just barely get you there. And you're able to grab and you're able to grab one of the legs. And it is inert, heavy, hefty, finely crafted. And I'm getting a complication. I think you're right next to the one that is still digging at the ground with like the stubs of its forearms, and you see that where it had been digging, there is probably the size of a hole, and you can see those rubies in there, and the
That all
light
sounds
from
good to
them
me.
is pulsing with your with your heartbeat.
Yeah.
And it is directly in front of the other child that's dying. Why do you feel like it would be easy to just grab a handful of those rubies in there that have been smashed up?
It's almost like they want me to pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that they're opening that opportunity for you?
I think so.
Yeah. Do you think
what's the there's the stone creatures are still near it? Are they focused on it, or are they turned a different direction?
Most of them are digging at their own places. This batch of rubies is directly in front of the one that is digging. Or attempting to dig.
Yeah. Basically, so I maybe have a shot at it, but like the one that like dug through one of its compatriots is headed towards this spot.
Yeah, it is the spot where it had been digging. It's the one that had done that.
Yeah, I think I gotta move it then, so it doesn't encroach on this spot that that I located myself. So it's ritual time, baby.
Yeah. All right.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong here? So your intention is to use the unfall ritual to get it off the ground so it can be moved to a less obstructive place.
Yeah, basically like unfall it, as high up in the air as I can, uh, uh just to like clear my path to the rubies.
Awesome. Well, I think the
I
clear
don't,
thing that
I don't
could
think
go
anything
wrong
could go wrong here, really.
would be that the child alerts the other children to what's
Hmm.
happening.
Right, I was gonna say, we don't know very much about them, but we know they're capable of screaming.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true, but
yeah.
they might just be so confused by one of them,
Yeah.
being lifted up off the ground that they don't have they're not able to track what else is going on.
If
Yeah,
we
it's
were
probably
able
fine.
to coordinate, I will remind you that I have a ritual that might synergize.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Can we do 2 rituals in short succession?
What could go wrong?
Yes. What could go wrong? Nevin, do you want to try your ritual first to silence the children?
Yeah.
I like that idea. So your intention there is you would be silent in the area, so it would stop both the any possible screaming and probably also the hammer blows.
Yep. Deaf and
Um,
all nearby, which presumably includes us.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think
that'd be
one
weird.
of the dangers there would be that it also silences the heartbeat, which is synced with Orland's. And I don't know how it works, but Orland's heart might just stop.
Is that a what could go wrong, or is that
That's a what could go wrong. Yeah.
okay?
Orland, do you have another what could go wrong?
Oh, with the ritual is deafen all nearby for a short amount of time. I don't know if this is a what could go wrong or a devil's bargain, but while the spell is in effect, we miss hearing something important, some early warning.
That definitely sounds like a devil's bargain.
Yeah, I guess it's a devil's bargain.
Yeah, I love that devil's bargain. Wow. I think another devil's bargain might be that the silence it sticks with Nevin much longer after it goes away from the surroundings. Nevin would be silenced for a long period of time.
Silenced or deafened?
Just deafening nearby. So your intention is your ritual stopping the sound from happening, or is your ritual stopping them from hearing the sound?
The text on the playbook says the second thing.
Yeah. Is that what you think you want to do?
I mean, I think I would rather stop the sound, but
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think then after the ritual is done, Nevin would also be silenced for a time.
Interesting.
Do either of those devil's bargains sound good to you?
They both sound pretty intriguing. I want to think for a second about which. Yours sounds like strategically what I'd go for, so I think I'll take Alexi's.
Awesome. And that one was
We miss an early warning of something.
you missed the warning. Yes. Great.
No matter what, there's something that we
Cool.
should have heard that we don't.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think any of your skills give you a light die for that?
I think obfuscation.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. And so you're taking Devil's Bargain, that's 2, and you get your dark die because you are doing a ritual. So that's 2 light, 1 dark.
Oh, yeah.
That's a 4. Light high. That will get you what you want, but it will also get you a complication. Would you like to add a dark dive? 5 for a 6.
Good question.
The odds of getting a 6 on 4 dice are pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a roll.
Right. No whammies.
All right, so I take a ruin and get the same outcome I would have, right?
Yes, that is correct. Your ruin goes up. But this is probably as a result of casting the ritual. So how does the ritual take take some of yourself away from you?
I think I get rid of all of the sounds in the room, but I think something somewhere in the back of my head is keeping them with me. I think maybe that
Oh,
chisel hit is going to echo in my dreams for a very long time.
I love that. Great. So your ruin is 4 now.
Yep.
That's not bad.
I don't know if I
That's
trust your
great.
judgment on this.
That's great. Yeah. And a complication. I think, and this is, the ritual takes a few moments to enact. What does it look like when you cast the ritual?
I think I'm sort of like I'm much quieter and more placid than Orlin is when he does his.
Mhm.
His felt more like a chant, and I think mine feels more like a prayer.
Cool.
There's a quietude about it that fits its purpose, I think.
Yeah. I think the way it kind of feels is that the silence kind of emanates from you, like in an
Yeah.
outward ripple, and you hear the sounds of the closer ones go away, the heartbeat goes away, and as it penetrates the rock, all the sounds of the chisels and the heartbeat just go, and the cave is dead silent. Yeah, and I think the complication that you immediately notice is that, and it's probably fine, but the chiseling of the children was happening basically in sync with each other, almost as if they're striking as one. And as the sound goes away, and you're sort of like watching to see if anything bad is happening, you can tell that the hammering has fallen out of sync. So the blows are falling at random. They're not striking as one anymore. It's probably fine. Do you want to try the unfollow ritual on our friend?
Yeah. And then we'll have created a perfect perfect little ruby heist for ourselves where nothing bad will happen.
Nothing bad could possibly happen.
Great.
So
I've got 1 light die because I've got a skill in rituals.
Yeah.
And 1 dark die because it is a ritual.
Mhm.
Devil's bargains.
So your intention is to lift the child and move it out of the way after it's left the ground, or like lift it out of the way?
Just lift it high enough that it's out of the way. I don't know if the ritual lets me move things in any direction except the reverse of gravity.
Yeah, I think like if you like lifted a foot off the ground and like just push it like a balloon. But yeah, lifting up to the ceiling was a good devil's bargain for that.
I can kick one
Um,
if you want.
yeah, go for it.
I think if you reverse gravity for this child, given what we know about him, it's going to keep shoving its arms into whatever looks like rock. And so I think it's going to start digging into the ceiling.
Nice.
Oh, yes, I love that. I'm making no more devil's bargains. Would you like to accept that?
I'll take that devil's bargain.
Amazing. Great. So that's 2 light and 1 dark.
All right.
Fucking go.
That's a 5.
Yeah, 5 on light. That seems pretty good.
You gonna
Yeah,
keep that?
Yeah.
I think honestly fair.
Great. Let's see.
Funny that we feel differently about 5s and 4s than other types.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, a 4 is the same as a 5, but a 5 feels more successful somehow.
Or
Yeah.
that doing better feels harder, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so you lift the child starts to rise as you do your and the chanting is silent this time.
Right. Yeah.
So you're not
I'm still like
attracting any more
forming the words
attention.
with my mouth, but there's no
Yeah.
sound coming out at all.
Right. You
but
can
the-
feel the
the
breath
intention is
leaving
there.
your lungs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
and that's probably part of what the mechanical part of raising the child. And the child really it rises to the ceiling, and as it leaves its digging spot kind of twists around in the air, and its eyes actually fix on you. It's like glowing, like almost white, but there's something inside that's connected to the heartbeat. I think that you can, with your knowledge of rituals, like when that connection is made, you can actually like that these are spirits of the earth that have been bound to this form. I think it kicks off a memory. There's an old parable about a greedy king that imprisoned the earth itself to mine treasures for him. What do you know more about that?
I think this tyrant of old was actually the enemy of the morning night.
Yeah. So the morning star has imprisoned these earth spirits to mine these rubies for him, and this is probably where the herald has been leading you. You can tell that it's actually it's harder to notice because the ambient light has increased so much, but when you look down, the herald is glowing with the same intensity as the eyes of these children.
Yeah, so I think that I like whisper, but I don't hear any. You're supposed to do, but the if the crystal replies, I don't hear anything from it either.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
So I'll just start shoveling rubies into my pockets.
Yeah. Great. So as you kind of let the spell do its thing, and the child drifts up to the ceiling and starts it is pressed up against the ceiling, and now that it has a surface to work on, it is starting to pound away at the ceiling with its arms, and rocks are beginning to fall. And I think as the rocks fall silently, Nevin, I think the sight of the rocks falling sort of triggers the fear of a cave-in again. Do you act on that fear? Do you think that Orlan's doing this on purpose?
Oh, that's a good question.
And you know, you can't really like ask me
Yeah.
at the moment.
I think I wave and gesture at the ceiling and see if Orlin does anything other than shovel rubies in his pockets.
Hmm.
Yeah, if Nevin gets my attention gesturing towards the ceiling, I'll like glance up, you know, kind of like a sort of like, you know, it's the like gesture that accompanies a grunt, even though there's no audible grunt, and then kind of start moving towards Nevin, you know, still not fully standing, and now like additionally weighed down by the rubies I've, you know, been filling all my pockets with.
Yeah, I think you're still digging at the rubies as this is happening, and this is going to bring us into circle 5, just like that. When you get your hands on the rubies, you know they've come out of this vein of red stone that you feel like you could like almost sink your hands into and just pull out handfuls of, you know, rubies the size of your fists. Do you try that?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
As many rubies as I can get my hands on.
Yeah, and as you're they don't sink into it, but you can feel when you get your hands on that exposed vein of red stone, suddenly this like feeling of comfort and peace washes over you, and you can feel the blood in your ears, although everything else is silent. You can feel it rushing with the same tempo as this mother's heart, and anything that was like, you know, you've been crawling through the cramped caves in the cold for hours and everything is kind of stiff and sore, all that goes away. And your heartbeat is perfectly in sync with this, and you feel that it's not a fast heartbeat, it's like this very slow, like the heartbeat of the earth. Nevin, this gesticulating is not getting his attention, and in fact the children seem to be disturbed as they can't hear the hammer blows and they can't hear the heartbeat anymore, and they become kind of disconnected and disoriented, like ants that you've disturbed. And you know the rocks from the ceiling are starting to fall more and more, and you can see the glow of the red stone exposed above as the child just almost burrows into it, kind of showering rubies and other larger stones from the ceiling that are striking some of the children that have been digging, and they're starting to move around looking for the source of the disturbance, and you can tell that they are moments away from swarming Orlin. What do you do?
I feel like I have done my best to warn Orlin, and his like commitment to destroying these beautiful creatures with this crazy ritual is like, if that's his undoing, like what can I do about it? I think I'm going to take advantage of the fact that their attention is on him to try and get the hell out of here.
Yeah. And as the silence spell is still up, but like you were saying, the sounds of the hammering, even though they've stopped for the moment, and the heartbeat are still in your head, and as they see Orlin digging into the heart with his hands, they open their mouths and their eyes widen, the glow and you feel in the back of your head the screaming of all of these children, and I think that's going to be a ruin roll.
Oh boy.
See how that looks.
Oh,
What do we got?
that's a 6.
That is a 6.
Only 6 I roll all fucking night.
Yep. So your ring goes up to 5.
Yep.
All right.
That means reduction rolls.
Yeah,
are
that
in
means
play, aren't
you can start doing reduction rolls. So when you mark 5 ruin, you can perform a reduction roll by acting in the well, it's not the force this time, but in the interest of the hostile environment, by destroying treasures, betraying your fellow hunters, sabotaging them, interfering with the rituals, all sorts of stuff. When you do that, your ruin will go down by 1. The roll is to see whether or not your perfidy has been noticed or not.
And what's that a roll of?
That would be 1 light die. If it's, well, I forget if it's lower or reduction roll is.
I've got I've scrolled over it here in the reference bit.
Yeah.
If you roll less than your current
Less
ruin,
than.
your betrayal goes unnoticed and you remove 1 ruin. If you rolled equal to or higher than your current ruin, you decide whether or not to remove 1 ruin. But if you do, someone notices the attempted betrayal.
Yeah. And I think at this point, Orlin is beyond noticing. Orlin is definitely just one with this this
I
mother.
I know one thing that might risk his attention that is definitely in the interest of everybody. I could drop my ritual right now.
Ooh. Would you like to do that?
I think so.
And make it, and then the roll is just to see whether it seems like an accident or whether I can tell you're doing it on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see what we get.
And it's a 6. So with a 6, I can decide whether I want to keep my ruin where it is or.
So you'd keep your ruin where it is and he doesn't see anything, or your ruin would go down and he would notice.
And I can just make these whenever I think of something clever.
Yeah, whenever you do something to sabotage.
I'm gonna let this pass.
Okay, that's smart. But the ritual has dropped, and all at once, the screams of these children fill the cavern. Orlin is oblivious. The screams of the children sound like gently flowing water almost. It's very soothing. As your breath and your heartbeat begin to slow to match that of the earth, and the children turn on you with hammers, and as you continue to dig into the earth, each hammer blow feels like a soft caress, but they are breaking your body as if you saw what they do to stones. And Nevin, you just see them beat Orlin into nothing, until it's hard to tell his blood from the stones. And the cave almost feels like, as in reaction, this can't possibly just be from the child. The ceiling of the cave opens as if it's a mouth almost. There's cracks along the ceiling, and you can see the red glowing inside. And this whole cave is going to come down real soon. I think this is a risk roll. This might be the last roll we have.
Yeah.
Who's making it? Like
this would be Nevin to not be
Nevin
crushed.
get out of there?
Yeah. The danger is being crushed by the ceiling. do you have any skills that would help you there?
I'm gonna say yes. I think that the I think that this thing, this life of this cave
Mhm.
is something that I've heard of.
Oh, okay.
I think that it's taken me a long time to put it together again, but watching it as you say, open like a mouth, brings back a dim echo of something.
Mhm.
Um, and I think what I remember is that is that the way that the way that it tells invaders from things that belong is that invaders always try to flee out. So I'm going to dash deeper into the cave in accordance with my knowledge of myth.
Amazing. I love it. Great. So that's your white die. Devil's Bargain. I mean, I think the clearest Devil's Bargain is that you run deeper into the cave collapses, and the cave is where you stay.
I'm thinking it over, whether there's one that kind of is equally delicious, whether the roll is goes well or poorly here. No matter what, no matter what, you find yourself hearing the voice of the herald that Orlin was carrying.
Mhm.
Oh, that one's hilarious.
I love that one.
Whether
Yeah.
you make it out or not.
I'm taking that.
Great. Cool. So that's then you're definitely taking the dark for the
That's what I
body
figured.
risk. That's 2 light and 1 dark.
Cool. That's a 6.
That's a
Six
6
on
white.
a light die.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell me what it looked like as you rush through the collapsing cave.
I mean, that's what it looks like. Like I am not watching anything. I am running for my life. I think I actually do at this point lose the statue head, and I will be sad about that at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it just falls. I'm not really trying to get out of their way. I'm not doing anything except running for my life. I get bruised up, I drop things, it doesn't matter. There's just like, if I try to go out, I will die. And if I stay here, I will definitely ultra die.
Yeah.
And so I am just running for whatever scrap of hope is left in this world.
Awesome. And I think as we see you running through and dodging through the beacon, we see it's actually made of the same material as the mother lode, and almost like merges back into the vein, as if it had been calling you to bring it home. And yeah, I think the epilogue is Nevin running, eventually blindly through these caves, not knowing if you're going deeper or outward, feeling your way through in a literally blind panic, as you have no light.
Yep.
And I think eventually you sort of stumble down. There's not a cliff, but a incline that leads you into a larger open cave, and eventually you're not sure how long after you eventually stumble out into the light, and you are somewhere in the Calder forest, emerging from the opening of a cave, with just these screams in your head, drowning out all of the noise, and the whispers of the beacon. And I think the last thing we hear is like the screams sort of we fade out the screams a little bit in your head, so we can hear the beacon just say to you, "Bring me more." And then I think that's the end. And
Well-
that is Trophy Dark.
Thank you.
Mother. Whew. Cool. Let's do a round of stars and wishes. Just to sort of palate cleanse a little bit. Some moments that you enjoyed, some things that you wished you could have seen, or that you'd like to see in a Trophy Dark game in the future, maybe. Let's start with Alexi.
Yeah, this was very fun, very cool to get to take Dark for a spin. I really liked the interaction over the statue head,
Mhm.
because that got really, really intense and juicy very fast. And I liked what all three of us were putting out there for this this strange connection Nevin had, and then Orland's reaction to it, feeling like Nevin had been taken over by the statue, and then trying to test that hypothesis.
Mhm.
I guess relatedly, my small wish would have been for an epilogue where a new stone child arises
Mm.
that it resembles Orlin in some way, but its head is the like partially broken statue head that Nevin left behind.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Cool. Brian, stars and wishes.
Yeah. So I thought all of the inter-party tension stuff was really well done. I've read about Dark, and I've wondered how that would feel in practice.
Mhm.
And it was so smooth and so easy to just hate Alexi, and that was
Thanks, Leota.
but just the way that this sort of weaves back and forth between being cooperative and competitive is something that I just wasn't sure what sense that was going to be. And I thought your questions, Mark, were really well constructed to drive at the heart of like what it would take to pick a fight.
Yeah, and like half of them are from the incursion, so that's
Fair enough. But I enjoyed the way that was played. I think a wish for me for, I don't know if it's for Dark in the future or for us or for what. Orland's like end blindsided me a little bit.
Mm.
It like, part of this is like it's a little bit OSR. Not everything gets a roll. Sometimes you're just fucked. But I think the speed at which it went from like he's doing something that is like clearly a little bit inadvised to like player agency is totally over for the game was like I got a little bit of whiplash. And I don't know if that bugged Alexi at all, but that's something that I feel like I need to like adjust my expectations around or something.
I think a combination of factors was probably getting close to just the time of the game being about to wrap up, and the way kind of monsters work in Dark is you can't really fight them. So once Orland was in a situation where there was nothing but between him and the monsters, even a silent spell, it kind of
fair enough.
I think that maybe is where the
okay
sudden death mechanic kicked in.
That makes a lot of sense, and that just hearing that alone makes me feel a bunch better. And that's a thing that I knew about Dark but didn't think about, and just like having all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, Orland is gone, just like what?
Well,
you're right.
like
this
this
is a fact about Dark, and it's one that I knew.
We deployed rituals cleverly and got like relatively lucky on those die rolls. So kind of, had like more. We were like more in the mix with monsters than Dark expects you to be necessarily.
Yeah, you got real close.
But then one of the rituals stops being in effect, and it's like, well,
yeah, Yeah, and the incursion has like when you get your hands on the vein, like it's over for you. You like
Oh,
you are
that's
you
kind
are
of
part
written
of the
in
earth
that
at that point.
you
Yeah,
like can't pull yourself away at that point.
yeah, yeah. And
That
then
was
dropping the ritual is just the icing on it. It's like, oh yeah, cool. Now you become part of the earth.
That I think was the part that struck me, was the
Mm,
like the total just like blissed out, this is over, like
yeah,
tripwire.
yeah, and that's a very dark thing.
Okay.
A lot of
I
incursions
think
are
a lot
like,
of Ring Fives have a moment like that.
yeah,
That
Ring 5 is
makes
just
a
like
lot
you're
of
done.
sense.
Yeah,
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. It just
Still,
that
one of us survived, which is like
I
higher than you
know
usually get for dark. I think.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rolling out with 5 ruin, no treasure, having betrayed you, and like totally broken, but
but
surviving.
alive, you did it.
Yeah, I guess you have less than you went in with because you lost things along the way.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lost
Yeah.
books,
All your
gotten
books,
battered. I think the only thing I accrued was like
A fun voice in your head.
a fun voice in my head and an endless chorus of wailing. Also
Yeah.
in my head.
Great.
yeah. I see like you in the future you are like the guy at the tavern who's like, you should go into that hole, there's lots of cool stuff down there. Sending future hunters down there. Yeah, for me, stars like all around. Y'all, I mean, played the game to the limit. It was great. The characterizations of both of your characters, one of the things I'm always impressed by with both dark and gold is how fast it like a character snaps into focus, and both of you just like found your characters so fast and played them to exactly who they were. I always love that so much. And I especially love the Brian, like, well, the tactically good thing would be to do this, so I'm definitely doing the other thing. That is playing Trophy Dark perfectly. I loved it. Yeah, so many good moments. There's a couple of things that y'all did that were like, the incursion's like, oh, they're going to be separated for hours and then they'll wander around for a while. And you're like, no, I'm just going to lift up the earth. I was like, yeah, that's fair. You can do that. And you roll.
Rituals.
Yeah, great. So yeah, there's a lot of, not breaking the game, but finding, very OSR style, like finding ways around the obstacles that the incursion presents in totally legitimate ways that were great and still true to both the character and the setting. I loved all that stuff. And yeah, following your drives, super good all the time. Yeah, just had a great time. And this is the first time I've run it with 2 people. There's usually I usually run it with 3, so there's like a nice that dynamic is really sort of like, oh, these 2 are conspiring against this person, or this person's aligned with this person, and with 2 people it's just like intense. It is, we are on each other's shit, and it was so nice. I'm glad that worked out so good. Wishes, I wasn't sure how this incursion was going to go. It felt like there were way fewer risk rolls and like way fewer concrete things to be, because a lot of it's just like you're wandering around the caves and you like see some spooky stuff. There's not a lot of like,
Yeah,
these are the
I don't know
actual
if we had a
dangers.
single risk roll in Ring 3.
Yeah, and I think I was just like, and I think ring 2 or ring 3 was like, this is like the dungeon crawl part. It's like, no, you're just kind of like, I mean, it's uncomfortable and claustrophobic and scary, but there's not any direct danger beyond like the cave in.
Right.
I mean, Caven's pretty dangerous though. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big thing to throw at us.
Yeah, that's a couple risk rolls.
Yeah,
right there. So
we messed ourselves up pretty good surviving.
yeah, but it was mostly about the atmosphere, I guess. So I think I don't know if it's real, but like being able to sort of, for myself, being able to kind of feel out more like, oh, should I throw some like spooky cave monsters in there, or have some other stuff happen and get some risk rolls going, or is this just cool? I think it works, which is something to keep in mind for future runnings.
Was the like clicking noise from down below something in particular, or just a like scary thing to shepherd us into the?
That's just a scary
caves?
thing.
Yeah,
I think the was there. I thought there was like a moment in there. It's like something like you hear things skittering around. I think I might have stolen it from somewhere else. Yeah, I think that was just more like there's creepy shit in the hole. You better get in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super fun.
Thank you for being
yeah.
up to run it. This is
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having
this
me.
Halloween didn't work out to host an in-person game, but nice to get to do something appropriately spooky
Yeah.
online.
Trophy
Yeah.
Dark is like I think possibly the best online spooky game.
Right,
Mhm.
right, because Dread does not work online.
Nope.
One of these
Yeah.
days, I'm gonna dream up a mechanic to get something that feels vaguely satisfying to play Dread online, but I've been saying that for enough years that it might be a lot yet.
Yeah. 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 And it's just so like it's definitely one shot, and you can do it in with 3 people, 4 hours is the perfect time slot.
Yeah.
So it's great.
No.
Well,
Super
awesome.
cool.
Thanks for playing. I love running
Thank you
this
for
game.
running.
And yeah, y'all are a delight to play with.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Yeah, likewise. I'm gonna sign off, and we will see y'all next time.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
catch y'all
folks.
later.